Once upon a time, in a green valley, there was a wonderful garden where colorful flowers and fruits danced in the breeze. In this garden, all kinds of vegetables grew. The happiest and most colorful vegetable was okra. Okra, with her small, green, round shape, was the happiest vegetable in the garden. She always had a smiling and joyful character. Every morning, when the sun rose, Okra would wake up in the most beautiful spot of the garden, look around, and say, "Let's grow today too." She would start growing with her friends. The other vegetables in the garden would join her. They would play games and discover something new every day with vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, potatoes, and carrots. One morning, everything seemed cheerful as usual in the garden. But that morning, something was different. The flowers had bloomed in brighter colors than they had ever seen before. Even the leeks had grown taller and stronger. This surprised all the vegetables in the garden. What happened? Okra wondered. Just then, a voice came from the depths of the garden. "Okra, Okra! Help!" The voice sounded like that of a little bird. Okra immediately wanted to open her wings, but she couldn't fly like a bird. Instead, she decided to act quickly and run to the bird. The bird had hidden behind the biggest flower in the garden. "What happened?" Okra asked. The bird replied anxiously, "The wind is bringing a big storm. The flowers and fruits will be blown away. The tree I made my nest in could be damaged." Seeing the bird's worried state, Okra approached it encouragingly. "Don't worry, my little bird. Together, we will protect this garden," Okra said. But the bird was still sad. "But this storm will be huge. Even the strongest vegetables in the garden won't be able to stand against this wind. What should we do?" Okra thought for a moment and then found a solution. "Let's call our friends and make a plan. If we work together, we can survive this storm," she said. Okra quickly gathered all the vegetables in the garden. The potatoes, carrots, cucumbers, and tomatoes gathered around. "Let's discuss what we need to do," said Okra. Everyone was a bit nervous, but Okra's energy gave them courage. The tomatoes started to use their big red leaves to create a protective wall against the wind. The cucumbers twined their vines together to form a strong net. The carrots dug their roots deeper into the ground to hold on more firmly. The potatoes dug deeper into the soil to settle more securely. Okra, with great courage, said that the combination of all these strategies would protect the garden. Before the storm began, Okra and her friends protected every corner and every area of the garden. Okra said, "No matter how strong the wind blows, we must stand together." And her friends all shouted, "Yes! Yes!" At that moment, the storm began. The wind shook the trees, and the flowers were blown around, but thanks to the protective walls and strategies, no vegetable or flower was harmed. The storm lasted for a while, but thanks to Okra and her friends' determination, nothing was destroyed. When the wind calmed down, everything in the garden was intact, and nothing was lost. Okra and her friends had won a great victory. The bird returned to its nest and took a deep breath. "Thank you so much, Okra. Thanks to you, I've protected my nest and the garden," the bird said. Okra smiled and said, "It's nothing, my friend. Together, we are stronger. Everything in this garden is connected, and each vegetable must support the other," the bird replied. But the peace in the garden didn't last long. One morning, when Okra woke up, she heard a strange noise coming from the edge of the garden. It sounded like a rustling from the ground. A laughing voice echoed, "Ha ha ha!" Okra immediately started looking around. It turned out that a group of playful but mischievous squirrels had come from the nearby forest. The squirrels had come secretly to harm the vegetables in the garden. A quick plan had to be made. Okra, staying calm as always, gathered her friends. "Friends, we have a new problem. The squirrels want to spoil our garden. What should we do?" she asked. Tomato said, "The best way to resist them is to work together." The carrots added, "We need to make a plan quickly." Okra said, "Let's all act together, warn them kindly, and stop them from harming our garden." Okra and her friends decided to warn the squirrels and convince them. They showed them areas in the garden where they could have fun without causing any harm. At first, the squirrels were a bit mischievous, but they finally decided to leave the garden after seeing Okra's friendly face and courage. Thus, peace returned to the garden, and Okra and her friends once again overcame every difficulty by working together. One day, a new guest arrived in the garden. This guest was a frog who had come from far away. When the frog arrived, the other vegetables warmly welcomed it. The frog thanked Okra and said, "I'm so happy you invited me here. Where I lived was dry and lacked water, but here everything is so lively and green. Thank you for working together." Okra replied, "In this garden, everyone is equal, and we solve every problem by working together." And the frog, who had just arrived, understood how beautiful it was to live together. Okra and her friends now helped not only their garden but also the other creatures around them. What mattered most to them was staying united and protecting each other. Okra, now known not as the leader but as everyone's friend and protector, continued to grow the garden full of love and friendship. The garden became even more lively and colorful. And thus, Okra's name was always remembered with peace, unity, and courage. She continued to shine as the most valuable and joyful vegetable in the garden.